Good day. You are welcome to my YouTube channel, a channel created for digital designers like you. This is my official website at parametric.com. You can reach me on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and then WhatsApp, and chat me up if you have any challenges. The goal is to promote and democratize digital design technologies by providing expert training and relevant industry exposures that will lead to enhanced project delivery and stimulate progress across a matrix of design disciplines. Revit Essential Training is first in a series of courses designed to achieve the set goal. In the previous lessons of part 1 before you start Revit, we looked at AEC Industry and Digitalization, Chapter 2, Revit Setup and User Interface, Chapter 3, The Anatomy of Revit. In this chapter, Chapter 4, we are looking at starting a new Revit project. Basic settings and essential skills. These are things you do every day. So the earlier you know how to do them, the better it is, because so long as you are using Revit, you create objects, you read objects, you update objects, and then you delete stuff. So if you know how to create, how to read, how to update, and how to delete, which I've maybe labeled them as crude, let me highlight it so that it becomes bold and give it color red. Create concept. You must know the essential skills: how to create, how to read, how to update, and how to delete. When you are good at these 4 items, then you can manage a Revit file. Okay? And the management requires extra skills, but for now, you need to know this skill: how to create an object, how to read an object, how to update it, and how to delete it. Because Revit is a database that you are reading, so how can you read in between the lines in Revit? So this session, we are looking at the art of reading. Okay? And you look at auditing Revit setup files, starting a new project, project unit settings, precision settings, selection in Revit, that is Revit element and object, reading Revit element and object, how to select an object, read it, and then understand the object. Properties of objects. Now, if you can read an object, then you can update it. Okay, you can update it, add to it, subtract from it properties. And then we also will be looking at temporary dimension settings. Okay. And that is the numerical interpretation of what parameters, how they all work together. If there's enough time, you look at parametric definitions in Revit element. That's how to edit and modify elements in Revit, and placing components in Revit, and sketching in Revit. And I think I'll do it in 2 parts, part 1 and then part 2. So we start with auditing Revit setup files. Whenever you install Revit, it comes with some default setup files. Okay, without these default setup files, it will be very difficult for you to work with Revit. So even before you start up the Revit, you must check and see whether these default setup files are already installed. If you don't have them, you can download them and install them so that your Revit can run smoothly. Okay, what are these default setup files? Let me go to Revit or my Windows. Go to Windows. So you can go to Windows. You want to see this default setup file that comes with Revit, and then see how best you can work with them. And then in Windows, go to my computer. From my computer, move to Drive C. On Drive C, look for Programs Data folder. It's a hidden file folder. If yours is hidden or you cannot see it, go to the view menu here, then uncheck hidden items. If you uncheck it, it's like the hidden items will not be revealed, but if you check it, you should see your program data folder. So open program data folder. Within the program data folder, look for Autodesk here. Then in the Autodesk folder, look for RVT for Revit. And then the year of version you are using, whether you are using RVT 2018, RVT 2019, or RVT 2020. I'm using RVT 2020, so I'll take RVT 2020 and open it. Now, when you open the RVT 2020, it also comes with some 18 items, including folders and then other files. The folders include content packs, Dynamo, family templates, IES, libraries, lookup tables, recent, templates, user data cache, and then the other files. I think they are custom dictionaries, and then yes, I think they are custom dictionaries for the software. And if you look at these folders, as a beginner, please let your attention be on the templates folder, libraries folder, and then the family templates folder. Because when you want to create a new project, you need a template. Advice always. Either it is the default template or your custom template. But because we are starting from scratch, we are assuming that we don't have any template, so we are going to rely on the default templates. And the default templates are located within this particular folder. Then we also have default libraries that is also shipped with the software. If you open the default libraries too, you see all the libraries that is also shipped with it. And then default family template is for a template that you can use to create either 2D or 3D family content. So let me open the templates folder. Within the templates folder too, it is also organized into another set of folders called generic, UK, Imperial, and the US, depending upon how you install your software or depending upon which template you have installed. It will show you the list of templates available. So you can decide to install just one template, or you can decide to install other templates to this one. But I've chosen to install, I think, 3 of them: UK, US Imperial, and US Metric. Then there's the default generic templates, which gives you the list of generic items that you can work with. Okay, but we will not work with this one. Let's start with other country-specific template, other UK or US for now. So if I open the UK also, you realize that there are some 11 items in this folder, and these are all templates. So you can start with any of these templates when you want to work. If I go back and then check the US metric template also, you see that in that one also there are a lot of templates. You must take your time and then explore each of these templates and see what it comes with it, so that you know which one can be good for you or which one can be good for anybody. But because I have explored all of them, I know which one to use at any point in time. So you can also take your time and then explore it. Apart from templates, we also have libraries. These are we call them component libraries, the loadable object that you can load into your project. So the template usually is made up of the system objects, things which are not loaded, which are not loaded from the external source. And then the libraries folder contains the items that you will need to load into Revit for Revit to be more useful to you than whatever you are working on. So you should know the sources where you are picking your object from and loading them into your project. The reliability of those sources is very, very important. They also have family template if you want to create family content. So you see that one too. It's organized under Chinese, Czech, English, whatever. But basically they're all the same thing, but only a matter of changing name into a specific language. So if I go to the English, for instance, you realize that there are templates for almost everything you want to create. From rebar shape templates to metric side templates to packing templates to metric generic model templates, metric furniture templates, metric door templates, metric column template all the way to metric, but the list is very long. So if you become very good in Revit and you start using Revit properly, you realize that there will be the need to start creating your own families for your work, and this folder can be very useful. The other folders you will discuss later on, but for now, as beginners looking at Revit from the beginning, I think these three are important: family templates, libraries template, and then the libraries folder, and then the templates folder. Okay, but the libraries folder and the templates folder should be of very much concern. Now, in case you don't have this setup file, what do? You visit Autodeskcom, www.autodesk.com. They are the proprietary owners of the Revit software, and any information you need, any download you need, any question you have, if you visit Autodesk.com, you can get your results. So, for instance, if you search for Revit 2018 or Revit 2020 or Revit 2022 content in your search engine, if you search for this content in your search engine, it will take you to the Autodesk website and give you access to all the content you need, either metric, whether imperial, whether it is a family template you want, or whether it is a library that you want. If you visit Autodesk.com, you can get this one. So let me go to my Google desktop here. Open a new window. Then from new window, I'll search from here. See, you just search for the Revit, and then the year, and then the content. So I'll search for Revit 2020 content. So if you search for Revit 2020 content, it will take you, the first item in the selection here will give you access to knowledge.autodesk.com, and can get the 2020 content from there. So you right click and open in a new tab. You can even search for Revit 2018 content. Revit 2018 content. Then you see you can get Autodesk Revit 2018 content, or even Revit 2016 content. And you see, you can get Autodesk Revit 2016 content. So I can right click this one also, opening a new tab. Now when you go to the first tab, it will open the Autodesk Revit 2020 content for you. All the resources that you need, they are here. You can download them for free and install. Imperial family templates, metric family templates, Australia content, Belgium content, Canada content, Denmark content. The list is very long. Anything you want, just take your time and then go through the list. Chinese simplified, traditional Chinese, Czech, French, very long list. Okay, so if you go to the list, you get what you want. Okay, now let me go up, and you see, I should see United States Imperial here, the United States metric. But I can choose the United States metric. If you want United Kingdom too, you can choose from here. You can even choose both if you want, or you can even download all. But there's no need, because they are almost basically the same things. But very minor structural changes to some of them. So there's no need to download as many as you want. Just download some few, one or two, and then start with them, and then rather build your own content, because there's no need of putting content together which you know that you might not need in any particular project. Now when you come to the Revit 2016 content, to the same thing, you can get the list of all the libraries that you need and then download them. Okay. Good. Now when you want to start a new, let's go to start a new project. Start a new project. You can start without a template, and you can start with a template. When you start without a template, say here, you must choose between either you are creating a metric template or you are creating an imperial template. Your unit of measurement should be your priority for start. You don't start with an imperial template when you know that you are going to work in a metric unit, or you don't start a metric unit when you know very well that you want to work in imperial unit. So choose the unit that is relevant for your course at any point in time. So in our case, I'm going to start with metric. So you always, when you want to start without a template, make sure you choose metric. If you're going to work in Imperial, then you choose with Imperial. Then you can also start with a template, which is more advisable. Okay, and there are default templates that are shipped with the software. And you can also create your own custom templates and then work with them. The whole idea is that you should be able to create your own custom template and work. It will make your life much more easier and much more comfortable for you if you are able to create your own custom template and then work with it. Because the default templates, we shall see as we move on. So let's look at Revit again. And then now we will start a new project without a template, then a new project with a template, and then see if you can read the project and then understand the project as it is or how it should be. So I'll go in and then choose new here, new project, and a dialog box will pop up, new project dialog box. So you can decide to create a new project from a template file, or it's always advisable to choose from a list of template files you can work with. Within the list there's a none template, so which means that you don't want to start with a template file, which is not advisable. But for teaching purposes, let me start with a none here, and then go to OK. And now I'll create a new project, not a new project template, but rather a new project, and go to OK. You see, like I said, which system of measurement do you want to use in your project? I want to use metric, so I'll choose metric. So the metric template will open very soon. When the metric template opens, we have the properties palette on the left here, as on my desktop. Then I have the project palette on my right here. Let me close the palette for now. Then close this navigator or two. So now this is the project interface which you looked at previously. There's one view open called level 1, and it has its own view properties down here, which you can understand just about the status bar here. We call them view controls. So you can change the scale here. You can change the detail level of your view, whether it is coarse, medium, or fine. You can play with the visual style of your views here, and so on and so forth. So all the view controls are here. Now, to be able to work with this one, I need two things: project browser and the properties palette, to be able to audit or read this file and then see what is in it. Without the two palettes, it will be very difficult for me to work in here. So I'll go to the view menu, go to user interface, and then open project browser. So the project browser will open. It will give you it's more or less like the command center for the Revit file we are working on. It will give you the list of all the items that you need to work with in Revit, and there are about 7 major categories of items that you can work in Revit. That's the views, legends, schedules and quantities, sheets, families, groups, and then Revit lens. Your ability to work with all these 7 items very well will make you a better BIM author. Okay, so I also switch on and go back again to the view menu, go to the Windows panel, and then choose user interface. Then open my properties palette. These two are enough for now. I'll bring others as and when we need them. Okay, so now from here we have the project browser on the left, then we have the properties on the right. Now I've not selected anything here. My mouse is still empty. Let me just right click again and choose cancel to confirm that nothing is selected. You realize that the properties is reading what it finds here, this level 1, although I have not selected anything. So when you select something, then the properties here will read what you selected. Then I have not selected anything, so it's like it's called level 1. And you see that it's showing here that where we are is a floor plan and within the properties. And then here we have the name of the floor plan level 1. Okay, and it has been organized under graphics, underlay, extent, identity data, and then facing. All these items that you see in the properties are called the parameters of the objects. So within this view, these are the parameters as of now that we can read from this file or from this project that we are working. So if I open identity data, it is telling me that there is no view template assigned to this view. It's none. The view name is level 1. Okay. The dependency is independent. Title on sheet has not been defined. Referencing sheet not defined. Referencing detail not defined. If you go to extent, you can decide to crop the view. You can decide to show the crop region, which is shown here. This crop region, you can decide to show the same crop region is found down here. Okay, do not show crop, then hide a crop region. Then you have this one, do not crop view or crop the view. That's the same thing that you find within the properties here also. So you can also activate annotation crop. The annotation crop, when you select it, when you select the crop region, you see the annotation crop. So when you switch the annotation crop off and you select it, you will not see the annotation crop. We discuss annotation crop once we go on. Now what should concern us now is this crop. Okay, crop view. You can decide to crop it or not to crop it. Okay, you can decide to hide it or not hide it. So this is for the view. We can also go and look at other settings for the view like graphics. And you can see the scale of it, the display model of it, the detail level of it, the orientation, the graphic display options, the color scheme. So all these things affect this view. So if you know you are going to work with a color scheme, then you should concentrate on the color scheme here. Color scheme, location, color scheme, and system color schemes. All those things are here. We have discipline. So for instance, here discipline is coordination. And when you click on discipline, you can see that the view that you are working in can be assigned to the architectural discipline, structural, mechanical, electrical, plumbing, or coordination, and what have you. So but for now, it is at the coordination stage, so I'll leave it at the coordination discipline. Now, if you go to the side there, we have the project browser. The kind of object that you click on here will determine the kind of properties you will see here. So if I go to views, for instance, and then go to structural plans and select level 1, you realize that the name here will change to structural plans level 1. It is different from level 1 floor plan. They are not the same. They are two different views. Level 1 floor plan and level 1 structural plans are two different views, because you cannot have one view repeating the same way here. One is structural plan, the one is what floor plan. But they are all using the same level. Okay, with the same datum elements, level 1 to work with. And I think the same thing is applicable to system element. There is no legend within the project. There are no schedules and quantities within the project. There is not a single sheet. But when you come to the families here and you open the families, you realize that you have about 23 items here, from annotation symbols to walls. Annotation symbols are 2D objects that we view specific objects. And then the remaining items, cable trays, ceiling, coconut, curtain panels, all the way to walls here. Those are made up of the system elements. And these system elements, you normally cannot load them. You normally have to create them on your own. Although you can transfer them between projects, from one project to another project. But you must know how to work with them very effectively. So you see what you can do. Like I was saying, these system elements, you must know how to create them, how to edit them, how to update them, and how to delete them. As you are using Revit, you will be creating different elements. You will be updating them, you will be editing them, and you will be deleting them. So the more you create them and the more you manage them, the better you become at it. You don't have an option. You have to know how to work with them. And there are loadable objects which you can also bring in, and that one you must know. You should know how to create them within the formula editor. So if you don't know how to create the content within a formula editor, then it means that you always have to rely on somebody's content to do your design, which is not advisable. Okay, so these are the system elements, and they are organized under these categories. And if you take each category, there are families under it. So under the pipes category, there's the pipes types family, and within the pipe type, there's a default type inside it. Okay, so these are all default content. But like I said, I will not advise that you use this default metric template to work. It will be very difficult for you as a beginner. So I'll close this file and then open a new file with a different template. Do you want to save project? No, I'm not interested. So I'll go again to file new. And within the file new, I'll browse. And this time around, go up one folder, go to UK, Great Default Great Britain, whatever. Okay, Default Great Britain. Or can you, it's the same thing, so let me just pick this one. And then go to OK. When this one opens, you realize that it is a bit advanced than the previous one without a template. You see, within this template, if I open the project browser, there are two floor plans and a site. There's a two ceiling plans, one default 3D, 4 elevations. Okay, there's a legend, or 3 legend, door legend, key plan legend, keynote legend. There are 2 schedules, room schedules, and a view list. There's 1 sheet. Then let's check the families too. Now the families are more than the 22 we saw earlier. Okay, and when you open the annotation symbol also, you realize that there are more annotation symbols, more of them than we saw earlier. So the annotation symbols will vary from office to office, from project to project, from client to client. So if you look at this list, for a particular practice, you should also get your own list of annotation symbols, because these ones are generic for everybody to start from, unless you are following a specific standard. And that standard will set out which of the symbols you are supposed to use for your project. Okay, so I minimize this one. And if I open, say, doors, you see there are now 2 families of doors are loaded. And under the 2 families, one of them have 2 types, and the other has 3 types. Let me check ducts. Over duct, only 1 type. 1 family of over duct, 1 family of rectangular duct, 1 family of round duct. If I go to planting, there's a planting RPC tree, deciduous. So it's a deciduous tree, only deciduous tree component, which is loaded under plant. And under that one, we have different types of trees with different heights: 6.0 meters, 4.5 meters, 3.0 meters, 6.1 meters, all the way to walls. And there are 3 families of walls: basic wall, curtain wall, and a stack wall. And within the basic wall, there are several types of walls under it. But for now, we don't need all these walls. At least 1 wall will do for us, so that we are in the know. But if I check something like, say, pipe, have I checked pipe? Yes, pipes. There's a pipe here. Where's pipe? Okay, there's pipe, and the type of pipe is just normal standard pipe. And when you try to draw it, it will be very difficult. So the services people cannot use this pipe to work, because if you select the pipe here, for instance, okay, and there's something you call routing preferences. For this particular pipe, the routing preferences has not been set, so it will be very difficult for you to work with. So and it will be to the disadvantage of our people using the building services. So this template will not help me. So I can close this file also, and then choose a new project again, and browse again to my folder where my template is. And now if I go to the metric template, to US metric template, it's also the same list. So I can decide to use system default metric here, or I can go to the UK here and then choose system default Great Britain EMU. Okay, Great Britain, is that what? Great Britain EMU. Let me put it that way. Okay, so and when I go to that one and I choose open, it will create a new project also again based on that template. I cannot go to all the templates, but I would advise you to take your time and go to all of them and then say, see which one contains elements that you can conveniently start with. And I'm okay with this one. Now when you open this one too, you realize that the same objects under the views, and open the views, there's more view items than the previous file. More of them organized under electrical, mechanical, and then plumbing. So this is typically for a services firm who wants to work on a mechanical project or electrical project or a plumbing project. Okay, so that is it. But it's the same Revit file, the same content. If you go to the share families here, you realize that it is the same content that is also loaded. So if you, but the only scenario in this case is that there are more of mechanical, electrical, and plumbing content loaded to make it workable. So for instance, if I go to the ducts now, ducts, you realize that under the over duct there are about 2 types. Another rectangular duct, there are also 2 types. Then the round duct, there are also 2 types. So at least they've now populated it a bit. So which means that you can then use it to work. Let's go and check piping, pipes. Under pipes, under pipe types, there's cast iron pipe, there's a plastic pipe, then there's a standard pipe. So you see that it all contains the things that we need to be able to work with. But let's go to the views and then audit the views. Okay. Now within the views, if you select it, it has been labeled as views into bracket discipline, which means that the views have been sorted by discipline. So if you click on the view here, you should see its properties here. So when I click on the views and I come here, it say browser, which means that it's referring to this project browser, then views, and it will tell it to the views to it has been grouped under discipline. When you click on this drop down arrow here, you can choose between or, not on sheet, face, and then type per discipline. So if I choose all, you see that the views will be sorted by all the generic view families, that floor plan, ceiling plan, 3D views, elevations, and stuff. When you open the floor plan, you see that we have lighting, make, lighting, zero, make, zero plumbing, zero power, and then 1 lighting, 1 make, 1 plumbing, 1 power. The zero lighting and zero water means that lighting on the 0 floor, mechanical on the 0 floor, and blah 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 blah. That's how they've been arranged here. But because you are beginners, I don't want us to be working so many files at a time, so I'll just delete all of them for now. I'll delete all the floor plans. I don't need them. Deleting all project views is not allowed. Okay, I think it's the only view open. So let me go to ceiling plan 2. Let me delete the ceiling plans 2 for now. They are not needed. And then the elevations to let me delete all the elevation for now. So you start from scratch. So there are no elevation. So the 3D views too, I can delete everything. So that we are starting basically with a floor plan. Okay, 0 make, 0 lighting. Let me delete the 0 lighting and then just leave the 0 make. You see, if you come to 0 make here now, you see 3 circles here, 1, 2, 3, 4. They are called the elevation tags. Elevation tag. So if you hover over it, it will that's called elevations, and the type is elevation, and then the family is elevation, and then the type is elevation 1. So when you select this elevation, you see some 4 markers on them. 1, 2, 3, 4 with these check boxes and these question marks on them. We will explore all of them as we move along, but for now our concentration is on the check boxes, the one on here. So each elevation marker, if you select it, you should see 4 check boxes, 1, 2, 3, 4. Each one of them projecting towards an orthographic view. So the one on the top here, for instance, is projecting to the south view. This one is projecting north view. This one is projecting east, and then this one is projecting west. So as you can see, So if I come in here, there are all the 4 of them. Okay, so you have to create an elevation marker for it. So you click on this checkbox, then to create elevation facing this direction. And you see that the elevation will appear with the name elevation 5C. So you can right click on it and then rename it here, or whilst it is selected, you can go to the properties under identity data and then rename it here. So I'll call this one west elevation. West elevation. Then I'll create other elevations also. I'll create the south elevation, the north elevation, or this is the south elevation. I'll create the south elevation 2 here. So select this one, rename it south elevation. South elevation. Okay. Until my south is spectrum, it's normal, it happens. So I'll select it again and then come back here and I edit it. I prefer to work in the properties palette, it's more convenient. Although you can right click on it here and then choose rename. You can also edit it here on screen, but I prefer to use the properties palette, it helps. Now I'll go to the other elevation also. Check on this one and then call this one east elevation. East elevation. Then the last one here will be our north elevation. So check this one and then call this one north elevation. North elevation. So I have my north elevation also here. Okay, so all the 4 elevations are now defined. But let me show you something again so that you take note. The elevation is starting, is a range where the elevation is starting from and how far you are looking. So when you select this elevation marker, the one in black, if you select it, it will give you the properties that it is south elevation here. And it has graphics properties, it has extent properties, it has identity data properties. So if you go to the extent, it is saying that the far clip offset of the elevation is 3048 mm. So which is the distance from here to here is 3048 mm, which is very short, about 10 meters. So anything that you want to see must fall within this range. So, but I want to expand it and pull it out. When you pull it out, you see that this value will update to 3423. I can always pull it out to the back here and get about 49,000, but let me put it a flat value of say 48,000. Okay, enter. So I have 48,000. So I can select this marker, control, select this elevation marker also, and then select this elevation marker also, and then give all of them an extent of 48 meters. Enter. You see, I entered 48 m, and Revit could read it as such. 48 meters. So if you select this elevation marker, it goes all the way across from here up to here. This one also reads all the way from here across. So if you have any object outside this range of elevation, then it will not show within the drawing. So you should take note that it will only show within the drawing if it falls between where this line is starting and where this drag arrow is ending. Okay. Now let's open one of the elevations and see what we will see there. So let's open the south elevation. When the south elevation is open, you see 2 lines. 2 lines. And when you hover over them, it's to tell you that it is level. It belongs to the levels category. The family is level, and then we have the type of level 0. So this one too is level 1. 2 levels, as you can see them. But let me change the scale here. Now the scale is automatically set back to 1:1. So change it to the appropriate scale you want. Let's say, for instance, 1:100. As soon as you change it to 1:100, you realize that you see the level line with an appropriate line type, appropriate line color, and appropriate line weight. there's also a level symbol at the back with the name of the level, the elevation of the level, and then the symbol used for the level. And if you look at the symbol too, they're having two colors. One is blue and then one is black. The one in blue in Revit defines that there's a floor plan associated with it. The one in black denotes that there's no floor plan associated with it. So when I come in here to the mech, here, there's only one floor plan, which is the mech. When I select the mech and you look at the elements and the extent of it, it is telling that the associated level is what? Level 0. So that is why the level 0 is what is highlighted. But let me rename it properly so it doesn't confuse that. Rename, and I rename it to level 0. Level 0. Okay. So I've renamed it to level 0. So now this is the level 0 here. This is the level 0, the same level 0 that we see here. This level 1 here, there is no associated floor plan. So if you want to create a floor plan, you go back because the level is there. I'll show you why it is so as time goes along, you understand. But when it is black, you can go to the view menu here and then go to plan views. Then within plan views, you can choose floor plan. So you can create a floor plan, a reflected ceiling plan, a structural plan, and an area plan. Then you can also create a plan region within a specific plan also, which you look at as you go along. So I'll create a floor plan. And then the floor plan, I'll choose from the list. It is only the level 1 that has no associated floor plan. So I'll select it from this list and then go to OK. When I go to OK, you realize that it will create a new level for me called level 1. And it will open that level 2 for me. So now we have level 1, then we have level what? Level 0. Okay. And if you open the elevation 2, you realize that this one too has a different scale because each view is different on its own. They are not the same view. Each view is dependent on its own, but all the elements that you see in the view are common to every view that you can see. So I'll come in here and change the scale of this one to say 100. Okay. Now let's look at the levels again. This name level 0, level 1, everybody has a way we name levels, or you should have a proper way of naming your levels. And it should be consistent in your office. Every office have the way they define their level. Some choose L01, L02, L03. Others will try to write ST001, ST002, ST002. Others will write just a generic name, ground floor level, ground floor, first floor level. Others will write LO, and so on. So it depends. But since we are beginners now, let me just use generic name. As we advance, then we advise ourselves which proper name to use. So I select on this level, click on the name, and then change the name here. So you select the whole name here, and I'll call it ground level. Ground level. Ground level. As in the ground level flat surface on which you are going to put the building. So you see that it's also updated here. Then you can come in here and then rename this one to ground floor level. That's where the actual floor level for the building. Ground floor level. Then enter. Then I'll rename that one also. So I have my ground level at level 0, then my ground floor level. I've not defined the elevation for the ground floor level yet, but my design that I'm going to work with, or the type of building you are putting up, or the type of structure you are modeling, will determine the next floor level that you are creating. So when I select this object here, Revit will give me a dimensional relationship between them on the far right here. I can click on this dimensional value here and then type the distance I want between my ground level and my ground floor level. So this time around, I'll let it be say 900. 900 is too close. Let me make it 1002. I can change my mind anytime. And that's the beauty of Revit, and everything will remain intact. So 1002. So now I have two levels here: ground level at elevation 0, ground floor level at elevation 1200. I can create other levels. Let's say, for instance, the foundation level or the basement level below the ground level. You can have more basement levels. If the building is a very big structure, multi-story structure, then you can have more basement levels. But if it's a small building, just one foundation level will be fine. And then you can have first floor level, second floor level, third floor level, up to the end floor level that you want. And if you have a roof level too, you can add it. So because we are learning fast, let's just create about 2 or 3 levels and add it to whatever you are doing. And how do you create levels? You can create levels by going to the architecture tab, and then under datum items here, you choose level. When you click on level, the menu item will change to reflect the modify and place level. And in placing levels, there are 2 options that you can draw level that Revit gives you. Clicking 2 points and then picking an existing line. Okay, so I'll demonstrate the 2, and you see the difference. So I'll choose the first one, pick 2 points to draw a line, first point and the second point. So I'll come into my software, come into the stream left here, where this marker starts. And so when you align it with it this way, you realize that you see some dimensions, and then you see some broken line also showing that they are properly aligned. When you move to the left, it disappears. When you move to the right, it disappears. Then when you align with it, you see that broken line. Then you see the dimension you want. So you can just drag it to the dimension you want. Say 3000. And then start drawing your level this way. Okay. Then the level is drawn. I can come and start here also. Another 3000. Start from here. Drag it to here. And then my level is there. You realize that there is one level head on the right, then this one too, the level head is on the left. It's okay, it happens, it depends upon you. You can decide to show level heads on both sides, as in level 3 here, level 3 here. Then you can decide to show on both sides for this one too, level 2 here, level 3. So for each level you are working with, you have the ability to switch on all the 2 level heads on both sides. But depending upon you too, you can decide to show either the levels on the left, the level heads on the left, or show the level heads on the right. But for me, I'll show the level heads on the right, on the left. So I'll switch off the level heads on the right. So I'll switch this one off. I'll uncheck this one. I'll uncheck this one. Then I'll uncheck this one. So you realize that all my level heads are now on the what? On the left instead of on the right. Okay, so I'll put it all on the left. Now I've created 2 levels, so I need to rename them also. So I'll call this one first floor level. First floor level. Enter. Yes. This one will be roof terrace level. Roof terrace level. Then I'll create another level for the roof level. The project that we are going to work on as a that's the project of our desktop here. This project that we are going to work on, there's a ground floor, there's a first floor, there's a roof terrace level, and then there's a roof level here at the top here. I would say yes, it's roof level there at the top. So I'll add that roof level to it. So to do that, this time I'll not draw. Watch, I'll go to the datum again, then choose level. Then instead for me to use the draw one, I'll choose the pick. When you choose the pick option, you can pick an existing level and it will draw a level for you. But if you pick on it, it will fall on this one. Okay, but I want it not to fall on it. I want you to have an offset of 3000 above it. Okay, so when I hover like this one, you see that there will be an offset of 3000 above and click. Then Revit will create a new level for me. Then I'll do the same thing for the foundation. The foundation, I don't want it to be 3000. I want it to be 1002 also from the ground. So I'll hover here and then make it 2002. Okay. So I've had all my levels created, but I need to align the level heads here. Uncheck here and check here. Uncheck this one too, and then check this one. Okay, so now if you look at it now, I think we are going places. If you look at it, we are going places. So what I want to show is all our levels have been created and named properly, with the exception of the foundation level and then the roof level. So I'll rename that one also. Then I'll go to roof level. Yes. Then this one will be our foundation level. Foundation level. Yes. So now you see that we've created all the levels that we need. And from these levels, we can generate all the plans that we need. If you want structural plans, you generate them. If you want architectural floor plans, you generate them. If you want reflected ceiling plans, you generate them. And we have also the elevations also. Are you okay? Good. So now with our levels created, we now can start our project. But now before we continue, let's look at our project unit and settings before we continue. So we've created the levels now. We can start working on the project, but it's still not advisable to just start working. Just go and check some settings and then move on. So we go back to the Manage tab. And within the Manage tab, we looked at for instance, snap settings. Snap settings are good for you when you are working on a project. Okay, they help you to draw to precision. They help you to get something done easily instead of you inputting the work. For instance, if you look at the length dimension snap increment, they have been localized into 3,000, 1,005, 600, 300, 150, and then 25. So if I'm drawing any object of a length in nature, depending upon the object type, then I'll have the choice to choose between whether I'll draw it at regular length dimension increment of 3,000, 1,005, and so on. The same thing is applicable to the angular dimensions. I have 90, 60, 45 degrees, 30 degrees, 50 degrees, 5 degrees, and then 1 degree. So that gives me the restricted range that I can work in by virtue of snapping. Now, when it comes to object snap, we have endpoint, midpoint, nearest, work plane grade, quadrant, all the way up to point A. Okay. Now, if you check this one, then you can go to OK. The next thing we need to look at is our project unit here. So we go to project units. There is a common unit for all the disciplines. That is length unit, area, volume, angle, slope, currency, mass density, time, and then speed. Because I chose a metric template, all of them have been properly set to the length. So the length is in millimeters, decimal places is 0. If I check the area is also in square meters, and decimal places is 0. No, I'll change it to 2 decimal places. For area, at least 2 decimal places, okay. Then I'll go to OK. Then I'll check volume here also. Volume to 2 decimal places is okay. Angle, 2 decimal places, decimal degrees, and then slope. Slope 2 is 2 decimal places, then decimal degrees. So if you check currency, we have different currency symbols that you can choose from: dollar, pound, euro, yen. Wow, there's no Ghana city. You get there. You get there definitely. Okay, then go to OK. Now, if you go down here, we have time. You can input the time also in seconds, or you can choose milliseconds if you want, minutes and hours, depending upon how you want. But let's leave the default at 10 seconds. Then we have speed, which is also measured in kilometers per hour. So all these parameters are the default settings that you want to work with. And then you can also look at your decimal symbol digit groupings. Also, you can choose from a variety of options the way you want your digit groupings to be done from this left, but I'll maintain the default. Now, apart from the common, we also have discipline specific settings for Revit. structural settings, HVAC settings, electrical settings, piping settings, and energy settings. If you take your time and then go through these settings very well, it will save you a lot of time in future, because you do it once and then save it as a template. You don't have to do it anytime you are starting a new project. So what I'm doing it now. I will not do them again as we move along, and I will not come back again, because I'm building on what I'm starting with, slow but sure. Okay, so I'll pick structural settings. In the structure, we have forces include newtons. So if you click on forces, you can choose between newtons, decanewtons, kilonewtons, meganewtons, and pounds and stuff. So which one is convenient for you can choose, but I'll maintain the kilonewtons. I'll maintain all the default of the settings here. I'll not change anything, because we are still in the beginning stage. But the list is long. But if you're a structural engineer and you know what you are about and you know what you want, please, I will advise you to go through this, change the area force unit, linear movement, weight, mass, period, rotation. As you're moving along, as and when they become necessary, you can come back and edit them and update them, okay, and get running. You can also check on electrical settings, the current, electrical potential, frequency, luminance, luminous flux, luminous intensity, efficacy, all the way down to demand factor, conduit sizes, and cable tray sizes, and so on and so forth. We also have piping settings, density, flow, friction, pressure, all the way down to mass per unit of length. As a Revit modeler or a BIM author, these are the things that you should let it concern you very well. It will save you a headache in future. Okay, so I can then we go to the last one, energy settings. The same thing is also applicable to the energy, coefficient of heat transfer, thermal resistance, thermal mass. So if you click on anything, you can specify the units to use, then you can specify the rounding, and then the symbols and stuff to use. So with this one, I'll click on OK. Now the next thing we should look at is selection in Revit. Selection in Revit. You see, you can select a single object, or you can select multiple objects. You can deselect an object, then you can filter a selection also through a multitude of objects. So you can select a group of objects, then filter through and pick what you want. So I'm going to illustrate how these selections are also done for us to see. So I'll go back to Revit again. When you come in here, you see you can zoom in onto the level and just click on it like this. You just point your mouse over it and click. That is pick selection. Okay. When you do such a pick selection, it is only going to pick that specific item. And in the properties, Revit will give you all the information about that object that you need in a categorized manner. So with this level selected, for instance, if I go to constraints, I should see the elevation of the level, which is defined here. And then the story above it, you can see the story above it, below it. And then when you go to the dimensions, you see that there's a computation height here. If you go to the extent, we have the scope box. And if you go to identity data, we have the name, whether it's a structure or whether it's a building story. You see, you can modify all those things here. The same way, if I go to the floor plan, say ground floor level, and I select an elevation here, the circle, you see that with the elevation selected, you don't have anything to edit and the instance of it, because it's a family object that affects the whole thing. So rather, if you select the tip here, the tip here is an instance of the elevation that has been created, and it is called elevation here, and it is a view object, one object selected, and it will also give you the properties of the elevation, which we've looked at previously, the graphics, the everything, and so on and so forth. Okay. Now let's look at how we do the selection. So, but before I do the selection, I'll draw some few things here so that we can appreciate how. I'll go to Architecture tab and then click on, say, a wall. Architecture tab and click on wall, and then click Architectural wall. Or I can go to the families here, scroll through the list, look for wall, open the walls, go to basic core, open the basic core, then take one of the basic cores, say generic 200, right click, and then create instance. When I go to create instance, it will activate the wall tool here for me to create a wall, and it will give me all the drawing tools available for me to choose from Revit in order to be able to draw any geometry I want, whether it is a line or a rectangle or a polygon, circle. And these are geometry that is common to all software. This is what you should get comfortable with early. How to draw arc, how to do fillet, how to draw ellipse, and how to do basic geometric drawing. And if you can do basic geometric drawing, then you can then move on and apply your understanding to the project that you are working on. So you can pick any of these things. So I'll pick a line and click from one point, first point, and then second point here. So I have a line drawn, and that gives me a wall. I can also pick, say, something as a duct. I can do it in 3D. So let me go to a 3D view so that you can see it also there. If I go to 3D view, you see the wall I just drew. Okay, that's the wall. I can pick a duct. So I'll go to system and then pick a duct. Also in 3D, and then draw a single duct. So that's the duct I'm drawing. So one duct is drawn, escape. I can pick another system element, let's say system, and then pick, say, a pipe. And I can also draw a pipe. These are all linear objects, as you can see. I want to illustrate something. Then draw a pipe. Then let me go to structure also. And then structure to, let me draw a structural beam. No structural beam family is loaded. I don't want to load the family now. Then let me pick something else. Let me pick, say, structural wall. Please, structural wall and architectural wall are not the same. They are two different things. This is my structural wall. Okay. Structural wall and architectural walls are not the same thing. Structural wall can be reinforced with rebars. Architectural wall cannot be reinforced with rebars. So if you are going to work with a wall that is going to be reinforced with rebars, you choose structural wall. If it's a normal wall, then you choose what? An architectural wall. What linear objects can I draw again? What linear objects? I have a pipe, I have a duct, I have a wall, then I have a structural element. Okay, at least I have each of them. So let me go to not shaded. What did I want to illustrate? Yes, I wanted to show the dimension parameters. When you select, let me increase the detail level so you can see the pipe too well. So good. So this is the pipe. When you select the pipe and you go to the properties, okay, we have constraints, we have dimensions, we have mechanical properties, we have mechanical flow properties, we have identity data properties, we have facing properties, and then insulation. So let's look at it. Let's look at the mechanical property. It is a hydronic supply. System classification is hydronic supply. System type is hydronic supply. System name is hydronic supply 1. And then system abbreviation is not defined. Pipe segment is a copper pipe with EN 1057 blah 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 blah. The diameter is this value here. And the correction type is given, the roughness is given, and so on and so forth. When you go to the mechanical flow, we have additional flow of this 0.00L/S, flow of 0.00L, blah blah blah, Reynolds number, relative roughness, and you must learn how to work with these, how to read them, how to create them, how to update them, how to delete them. We should just be very comfortable with these things. Then we also have this duct also. And the duct also comes with its own properties, mechanical properties, here supply air and stuff. If you select the wall also, the walls also come with its own property, constrained to ground floor level, and the top is not constrained. You can constrain the top, something like I said, but for now it's not constrained. It's just having an uncorrected height of 4,000. So I can constrain it to another level if I want to. From the ground level, I can constrain it to the first floor level, so that it will be at the same height as from ground level to the first floor level. If I go to the structure also, you realize that it also has its own properties. It's on the ground level and it is terminating on the ground floor level. Give it a height of 1,200. And it also has its own properties, structural properties here, structural, enable analytical model, structural usage, bearing, and so on and so forth. Good. Now, let's go to a level, one of the levels, and observe something. See level, ground floor level. When you select any object, let's say this duct, it's a linear object. Do you want to save project? Not now. I don't see. When you select this object, Revit will give you the length of the object. In this case, it's 9,600. It will give you where the object is starting and where the object is ending by 2 drag points. You can hold these drag points and move them if you want to. Any position you want, any new position. So long as you have a start point, then you have an end point. The Revit object you've drawn will follow where the start point is and where the end point is. So you can hold it and drag it anytime to wherever you want it to be. Not only can you do this to duct, but if you also select a wall, you will also see the same drag point from the start point to the end point. Always, any line segment is made up of 2 points, the start point and then the end point. So when you know that this is the start point and when you know that this is the end point, then you can control them by clicking and dragging. So I can click here and then drag it all the way here and get a new location here. I can also drag here and then put it here and also get a new location. It doesn't matter. It's the same wall that I'm working with. But at any point in time, you should know where the start point is, where the end point is, and the total length of the object that you are dealing with. That's very, very important. Apart from that, there are other things we look at later on. But for now, I'm more interested in you knowing where the object is starting, where the object is ending, and then the length of the object. And the fact that you can hold the drag endpoint and then alter and specify a new location of the object, so that it will either increase the length of the line segment or decrease the length of the line segment, and also change the orientation of the line segment. Basically, that is what you need to know about lines. When you pick, say, an arc, let me pick, say, a wall. And then instead of me drawing a line, I can choose an arc. So I'll click first point, I'll click second point, and then I'll click a third point for where my arc should be. My arc is in a different view. I'm on ground floor level, but I'm drawing my arc on a different level. Let me look at it in 3D. So from 3D, yes, I can see my arc. Where did I draw it? I need to check it. Where? I go to the properties, minimize constraints, minimize graphics, minimize structure. So you go to constraints. You see that the location line is wall center line. The base constraint is ground level, which is that it is on the ground level. And then the top constraint is ground floor. Top constraint is ground floor level, which is that it's on the ground floor level. And it's giving me a height of 1,002. That's the distance between the two levels. But I don't want the base constraint to be on the ground and the top to be on the ground floor. So I'll change here to ground floor level rather. Then I'll change here to first floor level. As simple as that. Okay. So now my wall is now starting from the ground floor and then ending on the wall, on the first, and it's a curvilinear wall. So when I go to my ground floor again, I should see my wall there, which is here. Okay. And it's an arc segment. When you select that one also, it's made up of 3 points: start point, end point, and then the middle point of the arc. And then you can also identify the radius of the arc also. Okay, so that when you hold the arc and you drag, when you hold the drag point here and you drag, you see that the radius will keep on what? Changing. I want to illustrate. I want to go back a bit. Okay. Tab it. Okay. And when you hold here and you drag, see that the radius keeps on what? Changing to the object. Okay. Now, when you have this arc, there's a start point, there's an end point, then there's a middle point. That will define how big the arc is. Okay. If you want to make it bigger, you can make it bigger. If you want to make it smaller, you can make it smaller. And there's this keep concentric a checkbox on the options bar here. When you uncheck that one too, okay, and then you tap to select it, you see that now it is not moving at a regular radius, but the arc is now so flexible that you can change it the way you want. Okay, good. Are you okay? Good. So that's how you draw a line and then an arc. A line and then an arc. So in effect, this arc too, when you select it and then you go to it, dimension properties, it will tell you the length of the arc segment, the area of the arc segment, and then the volume of the arc segment. If you go to identity data, you can associate an image with it. You can give some comment about it. Then you can give it a mark so that you can identify it among several other wall objects within the project also. Now, let's look at the multiple object selection. When it comes to a multiple object selection, you can come in here. Let me go to say 3D view. If you click on an object, if you single-handed click on it, it will select the art object, in this case a level. If I click on this one, it will select another different object, in this case a rectangular duct. If I select this one, it is going to give me a pipe, standard pipe. And these are all elements that I'm selecting. And I'll be selecting one item after the other. I can decide also to draw a rectangular window around all the objects. And then select multiple of objects from a very complex drawing or whatever. Now you see that Revit will tell me that I've selected 5 items here. And because they are different items, all their properties are all vanished to their dimensions and whatever, and you cannot even edit them here because they are different objects with different parametric properties. When I click on the arrow here, I'll see all the items that I have selected. There are analytical walls are 2, 1 duct, 1 pipe, and then 3 walls and 1 3D views. That is what you see here. So you can choose from one of these ones. Then the 5 is, these are the 5 objects, and then the view itself, the 3D view. So if you click on 3D view, it will give you the properties of this view. If you come in here and you click on the 3 walls, it will give you the properties of the walls. If you come in here and then choose duct, it will give you the property of the duct selected among the complex. It's the same 5 items you see down here. There's a filter selection here, and it shows the 5 items that have been selected. The same filter box you see up here on the modify panel. So either you click on this filter or you click on that filter. So if I click on this filter, a dialog box will pop up and tell me that there are 3 categories of items that have been selected. One of them is a duct, one of them is a pipe, and 3 of them are walls. So if I want to select a particular item from this list of selection, I'll just uncheck the items I don't need, and then the item that I need, I'll check it and I'll see only that. So for instance, when I uncheck pipe and duct and leave only the walls and I click on OK, I'll see only the walls that are selected. So basically that's how you want to select. But if I've selected 3 items, then I want to add another selection, or I want to deselect an object from the list. What do I do? That is where the window keyboard comes in, and you have to learn how to use some of these things. If you use Control and Shift, if you click Shift, you see that you see minus. Then if you click Control, you see a plus sign. So what it means is that when you click Control, then you can add to the list. Control, it will add to the list. But when you click Shift, then you can subtract from the list. So you use Shift to deselect an object. You use Control to select an object to already existing object. And watch the filter at the bottom here. You see that 3 items are selected. When I click shift and click on this item again, it changes back to 2 items, showing me the 2 items. So the Revit reads everything that you are doing for you to make life very comfortable for you. Now filters, we've looked at all these ones. So as you keep on practicing and working, you understand them better. Now let's look at properties of objects, updating Revit elements and objects. So I'll go in here. Good. Let me deselect all by clicking an empty space, or you can click on this modify to deselect anything. And if I want to select anything and then read it properties, I can just select it, the wall. I want 2 things to concern you here for now. Okay, this properties palette and then the dimensions you see inside there within the drawing itself. Okay, now when it comes to the properties, the wall has so many properties, so many of them under constraints, under dimensions, under identity data, and then under facing dimensions, identity data, constraints. You see, there are so many properties. What should concern you now is the constraint property. What is the base constraint? Where is the wall constraint to? And what is the top constraint? So let me open one of the elevation views, say north elevation. And I can see my walls here. So I'll select this wall. You see, when you select the wall, you realize that it's saying that the base constraint is ground floor level. Change the scale so you can see the level names. 100. The base constraint of this wall is, let me select it again. The base constraint of this wall is ground floor level, as you can see here. And then the top constraint is first floor level, as you can see also here. Now I can change it and set a different base constraint and a different top constraint anytime at will. So I can come in here and say that let the base constraint be first floor, and then let the top constraint be roof level. You see that the wall will span between the first floor and then the roof level. If I want it to span between the foundation level, I'll go and change the base constraint to foundation level up to the roof level. Then the wall will span between the foundation level up to the roof level. As simple as that. Okay. Now when you are dealing with a wall like this, as a beginner, you should be concerned with the base constraint and then the top constraint. If you want to have some small projection above where the wall is constrained to, either at the base or at the top, then you can use the base offset or the top offset. So for instance, if I want the wall to have some small projection, let's say 900 mm above the roof level, then I can give it a top offset of 900 mm. Then it will project it 900 mm above the roof level. So no matter the level offset for the roof level, let's say if I increase this one to say 5,000 for the roof level height, the 900 offset that I've given will always remain at 900 unless I would edit it and give it a new value. Okay, so that's the properties of the object. I can also do base offset here. So if you go in, there's a base offset too. The base offset, if you give it a positive value, let's say 900, it will be raised above the wall by 900. If you give it a negative value of negative 900, it will go below the wall by negative 900. There are instances where it will become useful whilst you are working. Okay, so learn to make good use of that. Now let me select the roof level and change my level back to my original 3000. Okay, now let's go in and check the wall again. While the wall is selected, you realize that I can select from other wall types: exterior block on metal stud, material stud, 900 mm brick, then generic wall type. There are about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wall types. Let me confirm it within the families. So I'll go to my families, scroll down to walls, and see that the same thing is here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 basic wall types that we are working with. And when you are in the project browser, when you are in the project, you can select any of the walls. Okay, and then the wall is too tall. Let me reset the base constraint to ground floor, base offset to 0, top constraint to first floor, and then top constraint of 0 for now. Good. So I come back to the original size. Now if you look at this wall and you select it, it's one wall type that has been selected. Basic wall generic. I can click on it and then change it to another wall type. Let's say for instance generic brick wall. So if I change it to brick, you realize that it will change to brick wall and rendered as such as a brick wall. Okay, I can select it again and then change it to a different object. Say metal brick on start. This one. Okay, now when you look at it, you realize that this is also a different wall type with about different layers of the wall, as you can see here. Now, when you are working with these objects, we have what you call instance properties and then the type properties. When you select an object here, the properties you see here at the beginning, here, just here, without clicking on anything, is just the instance properties of the object selected. But when you click on edit type here, this one will give you the type properties of the selected object. When you edit something here, it affects all elements of the same type. And when you edit it here in the instance properties here, it only affects the element that is selected. The element that is selected. So if you want to edit the type of an object, you select the object, then go to edit type here. Okay? Or you can right click it and look for, is there edit type in the properties? Edit type, 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 edit type. No. So you just click on here and click on edit type. Or you can, since you know that the name of it, this one is exterior block code, you can go here and then come and choose it from here. Right click and then choose type properties, and it will also open the edit type dialog box for you. Are you okay? Good. So we have the edit type, we have the instance properties. So when you select this duct also, and you can get the instance properties for this duct. But if you click on edit type here, then you get the type properties for this duct also. We will come back to it. I just wanted you to know that something like this also is there. Temporary dimensions. Whenever you select an object, let me go to one of the floor plans. Let's say ground floor level. And you select a wall. Revit gives you the temporary dimensions for this wall and how it is related to other objects in the project. If you select this one too, it will also give you 8 temporary dimensions and how it is related to other objects. And you can click on any of these temporary dimensions to alter it. So if I click on this, I can change the length to say 3000, and then the length of the pipe will change to 3000. If I click on this one, gives me the elevation of the pipe. You see the middle elevation of the pipe is 240. That's how high the pipe is above the ground. Let's look at it in elevation so you appreciate it. Let's go to start elevation. You see the pipe is here. That's the pipe selected, and it is at a distance of about if you go to the properties palette, you should see it's a top elevation here, middle elevation here, and then bottom elevation. I think if I change the middle elevation, it should affect the top and bottom, and I make it 1200. Enter. When you bring it in, you realize that the whole thing will move down. The middle elevation will move it down here. Okay, but the top elevation and then the bottom elevation are different. Okay, this gives you the middle, then this gives you the top, and then this gives you the bottom. what should be the difference? The difference, let me zoom in here. I just need to check. I'll take a dimension di from here to here, 1002. From here, can I select the bottom? Yes, to here, 121. Then from here to the top, 1280. So in effect, when you select this pipe, Revit is telling us that the top elevation of this object is what? 1279, which is this one, 1279.5. And then the bottom elevation is this one. What you see here, the bottom elevation is this one. And then the actual middle elevation is the center here. So you should know the difference between the three. Okay, good. And if you go to edit type 2, then you can edit the type of pipe you are working with, most especially the routing preferences. When we are doing the MEP, we look at the routing preferences better. Then go to OK. What next? Give me a minute. Let me do the temporary dimensions and close here, so that at our next video we'll look at parametric definitions in Revit element. So let me just look at temporary dimensions and close here. Let's go back to Revit. You see, when you select any object, I've told you again and again, as soon as the object is selected, you see some dimensional values. These are all temporary dimensions. You can update them anytime you want. If you select a wall, in elevation, you might not see the dimensions here. But if you go to the ground floor plan here, and you select a wall, you see that you can see the dimensions here. You can click on the radius and change it to say 6,000, and it will change. You can click on this angle and change it to say 5 degrees, and it will change. You can also click on this angle and then change it to say 30 degrees sharp. You have your 30. If you want to alter this angle too, you can make it 150 mm sharp, then to be done for you. So that is how Revit is organized. I'll stop here, and in our next video we will look at editing and modifying elements in Revit, placing components in Revit, and sketching. Thank you very much for watching, and expect the next video soon. Bye bye.